Beautiful people. It's an incredible day after a beautiful weekend, April 16th. It's a great day in Milwaukee. So we'll get rocking and rolling. I have a new wrinkle I'm going to share with you today. I was given a little nugget of like, hey, could you look into this to help us win? And I said, sure. And so what I did is I data mined all the accepted offers that happened in the last 7 days to give you what it is that's getting accepted within southeastern Wisconsin, only within the KW community. So some insights so that we can start tracking trends when you can see when things are starting to shift or what it is that you need to include or not include or what you may feel is either true or not true. So I'm going to dig into that this morning and I'm looking for feedback. So if there's more things within the data that you're looking for to help you win, let me know. This is week one of me trying to figure out how to help you navigate the spring market in 2024. Cool. Outside of that, we'll celebrate a bunch of folks, help you understand where it is that people are winning. We'll talk a little bit about fair housing now that it's Fair Housing Month in the month of April, and we will rock and roll. So mission, vision, values, beliefs, perspectives, to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, legacies worth leaving. Um, I think there are a lot of examples of how our mission statement comes to life, whether it's celebrating cappers, whether it's celebrating people's successes in March, as well as Q1 2024, or whether it's signing up for Red Day and pouring into our community to help grow where we live and help and support. Lots of different ways in which that our mission statement shows up today across our team meeting. So first up, congrats to March Cappers, first one. This is an individual where you can't help but smile and laugh every interaction you have with him. He always at least makes me laugh. Interesting personality, always the life of a party. Nathan Baraki, congrats on capping in the month of March. Next up, you want to talk about an OG. This was the second agent to move to KW back in the day, has grown her influence and leadership, both personally and professionally within her life. An incredible person within our community, Natasha Duvall. Congrats for capping in the month of March. Next up, a mother of four, learning how to create balance both personally and professionally, but has built a really nice book of business here quickly as she's been in the business only for the last several years. Really, really done a nice job out in Lake Country. Karen Flanagan. Congrats to Karen. Next up, you may not know this about this person, and I may embarrass him, but I went to high school with this individual, and they are still to this day a record holder within the pool at our high school. College swimmer, really, really accomplished in what he's done, and has parlayed that determination and grit into his professional success. Congrats to DJ Frisch for capping in the month of March. Next up, an incredible human, always has the abundance mindset, really, really is the epitome of what KW culture and community is. Congrats to Ann Kleber for capping in the month of March. Next up, an incredibly powerful woman, young mother of two, again, learning how to have a really successful business and a really successful personal life, has an incredibly talented husband who is an attorney over at Foley, really talented, funny, witty person. Fun fact, when they closed on their second house, he walked in and he was giving me a load of all this stuff about why his agent wasn't very good, only to find out that it was wife and he was totally kidding. And I was standing there sweating. Uh, Kirsten Lindstrom, congrats on capping in the month of March. Next up, someone who's basically has grown up in this business. Her father ran an incredible company called Federated back in the day. Really determined individual, really hardcore biker. You can see the way that she lives her life, why she has success within this realm. Ellen Pertel, congrats on capping in the month of March. All right, four more. Next up, over here in Tosa, an incredible woman just launched her business a few years ago. Really, really successful, learning again how to navigate the ways of the world, and has done it really successfully in a tight market. Jackie Reinisch-Knapp, congrats on capping in the month of March. Three more coming at you live from Lake Country. An individual that's learned how to balance both being dual licensed, not only in Wisconsin, but also in the state of Florida, understands where her priorities lie. It's God family business and is an incredibly exemplifies what that looks like. Katie Sayers, congrats on capping in the month of March. Next up, another incredible mother, has 4 kids, learns how to balance it all, also has dove into flipping a house with her husband right now. And what I love is it's exactly the way I grew up. The kids are there with banger buckets, taking out tile, ripping down drywall, whatever it may be. Annie Stabler, congrats on capping in the month of March. And then lastly, in the month of March, another incredible person, a true educator at heart, always willing to give back, mentoring young agents, giving of her time, talent, and energy to help other people be successful. Congrats to Gail Zeman on capping in the month of March. So congrats to our cappers in the month of March, an incredible time of year in order to cap. And we look forward to celebrating more in the month of May for those that capped in April. Next up, we talked a little bit about this last week, and here's what I love. I gave a little bit of a call to action amongst our group, okay? And I showed some pictures of the history of how the impact that Red Day has and the energy that you get from people as you see when they're giving back within their communities and what we've done. After the first week of signups, we've had over 100 agents register for Red Day across the 5 different opportunities that we have available for you in 2024. So if interested, would love to have you join us. I know that I've never had an agent who didn't think it was worthy of their time. It's an incredibly cathartic experience in terms of just releasing pressure, stress, anxiety. It's also a way to learn and work alongside your peers and get to know them in a personal way. So there are 5 opportunities this year on Thursday, May 9th, across a variety of time commitments and across a variety of different geographies in order to help in order to give back to our community, because Red Day stands for Renew, Energize, Donate on Thursday, May 9th. Also, I just want to call out, if interested in getting one of the awesome red t-shirts, as to you've seen in some of these pictures, the last day in order to get a sign up for a t-shirt is Monday. It does not mean that it has to be it's the last day for Red Day registration, but if you want to participate in the t-shirt order that we'll have coming, the last day to register for t-shirt is on Thursday. So feel free to sign up. Over 100 plus people represents more than 20% of our total overall KW community in southeastern Wisconsin. To me, I look at what our percentage of engagement is, love to see it, and would love to get to above 1/3 of our total community giving back and leveraging our economies of scale to make an impact of where we all live, work, and play. So sign up for Red Day Thursday, May 9th. All right, with that, I'm flipping it over to Lindsay Vranick, who's got a little bit of insight into what makes smart plans smarter. Lindsay? Vranick? Vranick? All right. Willis, you here, Vranick? No. All right. Maybe we don't have Vranick, and we'll get back to smarter smart plans. Hang tight. All right. With that, I'm flipping it over to Sheriff Reed for some compliance updates with you all around fair housing awareness in the month of April. Sheriff Reed.
Can you hear us, Charlie?
Now I can. There's Vranick.
Vranick's ready. Okay.
All right. Here you go.
Sorry, Joni. All right. Good morning, everybody. We'll try this again. So a couple months ago, Keller Williams updated Smart Plans, the entire applet, to be a lot more user-friendly. And so in my opinion, I would say Smart Plans is one of the most dynamic and essential applets that is part of Command. It really allows you to automate and organize your client touch systems. And so they, kind of revamped the entire workflow of this platform. And then they also recently added some new functionality, which I think is super exciting. So next slide, Charlie. I'll go through that a little bit. Next slide. Thank you. All right. So as I said, they updated it. It's got a brand new look. They've got drag and drop functionality, which you can see on the screen. And you can also now set the time of day settings for each step. So as you're setting out automated emails and text messages, you can actually specify if you want those to go out in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. And you just have a lot more visibility into the workflow, what does day one look like? What is day two? What are the delays in between each of those steps? And then configuring those details. So like I said, setting up the time of day, when is a task due, what date, what time. So you have a lot more visibility and insight into what exactly that smart plan looks like. So something new that they recently added a week or two ago, it's something that people have asked for a very long time, and I'm really excited about this. So on the next slide, we do have now, so next slide, Charlie. Yep, the add and remove rules. So you will now have the ability to set conditions for contacts to be automatically removed from a smart plan. So if you have something like the 8x8 new contact engagement, or you've got any sort of smart plan following up with Facebook leads or open house leads. Basically what this does and how you can set this up is that when a contact replies to either an email or a text message, that Twilio text message, that contact can then be automatically removed from that smart plan. So they don't keep getting that same communication from that, let's say that 8x8 new contact engagement. You can then take that contact and set them up on a new smart plan, depending on, what fits their needs a little bit better, because you've had conversations with them, they've reached out to you. So this is set up, you can edit any smart plan to include those remove rules. So you'll see that on the screen. You just check off those two boxes: contact replies to an email from the smart plan, or contact replies to an automated text from the smart plan. So you'll receive notifications of any of those responses, whether it's a text message or an email. And then you're also going to see in the contact detail page a timeline event for both that response and the fact that they were removed from that smart plan. So you'll have visibility into that when you click into the contact, but of course you will receive those notifications of any responses once someone responds to an email or a text. So really exciting stuff for smart plans, just really helps you when you're automating those client touches. Switching gears a little bit. I know there's been a lot of chatter regarding homes.com. They spoke at Family Reunion this year, but I just wanted to take a couple minutes and go through kind of the benefits to homes.com. Unlike some of those other third-party search sites, homes.com is your listing, your lead, just like Keller Williams is. And so we actually had a conversation with homes.com a few weeks ago, and they kind of gave us some insight into some of the benefits for our agents. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. So on homes.com, it is free to claim your profile. And so it's really important to do this, because what this does is if you have your profile completed on homes.com, you have your headshot uploaded, you are going to move towards the top of any search results. So if a consumer is searching for a particular zip code, you want to make sure that you're showing in those search results, because if you do not have your profile filled out, you don't have your headshot uploaded, you're actually going to be at the bottom, just wherever. So he actually showed us, some examples of some zip codes around the Milwaukee area. And you guys, there was only like 5 to 10 agents who actually have their profiles completed. So I think it's really important, if we, as Keller Williams Milwaukee, go in, add your profiles in here, and you guys, it's all going to be Keller Williams agents. It was kind of astounding, the fact that, not a lot of agents have completed their profile on homes.com. So it also gives you easier access to leads coming in on your listings. So like I said, it's your listing, your lead, just like Keller Williams. And so we do have some instructions on how to complete this profile on homes.com. It should be really simple, really straightforward. The next slide, I think I have a QR code with some instructions. So Yep, there we go. So scan that QR code. That's going to take you to a PDF with instructions on how to do this. In addition to these instructions, we're actually going to be going through how to do this on our tech and marketing training this Thursday at 11 o'clock on Zoom, and it will be recorded. So if you guys have any questions on this, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to walk you through it. But basically, you're going to follow those instructions. You're going to select the Metro MLS and search for your name, claim your profile, and then you'll have access to fill out the rest of those details. And like I said, we'll go through this on Thursday for tech and marketing training along with the KW Consumer app and the Command app. So we'll be going through those three things. And then at the end of the month, April 25th, we've got our zip form and compliance and command training. So we do this training once a month, Steph and I, and we walk through the entire opportunity section, how to draft contracts in zip form. So we've got that training coming up next week. That's it.
Sweet. Thanks, Frantic. All right. So, two things I want you to hear and understand. One, leverage is more work before it's less. So, if you want to set up your smarter smart plans, it always takes more work on the front side in order for you to create leverage on the back side. Second thing, if you aren't paying attention to homes.com, you need to be. Okay. All you have to do is look at the stock prices over the last 90 days of CoStar versus Zillow, and it will be very clear as to where the market is going to be headed. Okay. We need to start claiming our profiles in order to get ahead of where the trend is within the industry, within technology. And you need to be paying attention to homes.com. Homes.com is owned by CoStar. CoStar is a multi-billion-dollar company, mainly in the commercial space, that is making a huge bet in the residential space. Get ahead of the curve now. Cool. All right. With that, now I'm flipping it over to Sheriff Reed, who's going to give us some fair housing awareness as we head into Fair Housing Month in the month of April. Sheriff Reed, what do you got?
Good morning, everybody. This, as the title says, is an awareness. Most of you are very aware of the categories of protected classes in fair housing. It's something that we have to have an innate knowledge of at all times. So what I'm doing today is just a few slides on reminding you and making sure that you are aware every day in your real estate business, well, in your life. 6 steps to keeping a property search unbiased. Providing real estate services should be uniform, consistent, and objective. And it's a good idea to take notes, to make a checklist of questions that you ask potential buyers so that you are always consistent. That is the key. That is the key that keeps you basically on the right side of working with clients and working with where they're going to be looking. Use system procedures to qualify buyers and match them to properties. Have a standard list of questions for all buyers: price, financial qualification, neighborhood, amenities, distance from work, schools. In fact, schools are some of the hidden bias things that sometimes agents get trapped into, saying, oh, you'd really prefer to have this school district over this school district. And actually, I'm talking about that now. Provide buyers with information about a variety of properties, neighborhoods, and let them decide where to live. Avoid giving personal opinions about a community, area, schools. Instead, guide buyers to a third-party sources. Go onto the internet, look for sources for school ratings, crime statistics, demographics. You're not to providing this information, but you're to providing where to find this information. So only obtain and provide objective information, data, statistics, and things like that, not opinions, not especially not your opinions. Fair housing is about choice, the buyer's choice. Keep that just nugget in the back of your head at all times. It's up to the buyer to decide where to live. You can maybe talk about 3 or 4 different areas to live, do some sample showings in each of the areas, direct them to places on the internet where they can look up data and information, but you are not to give your opinion or your assumption of where you think they should be going. Always document the service that you provide. And that's really interesting. Over my years of being a manager, I've only had two situations where there were fair housing violations. And it was the key to having um, their history with this client documented. And one of those agents that was asked to clarify their actions, she actually did have a good record of where they went, what she pointed out, the showings that they had, showing that there was quite a diversity in what she had been showing them and everything. And that saved her from this accusation that she was steering. Okay, the next slide. And this is the innate part that really is difficult for us. It's bias. Bias can be real or innate, intended or unintended. But what matters is how it's received. And that's something to always keep in mind. It may not be what your intention is or what you thought. Um, I gave an example of I had working with a person with mobility problems. And I said, well, I didn't include this property because it had stairs. What I was doing was assuming because they had mobility problems, they didn't want stairs. And she was really upset. She said, I want stairs. I can make that decision on getting a lift or whatever. But she said, I mean, she even said, how dare you, make that assumption that I didn't want stairs. It was how dare I. I had made the assumption and it's not correct. Keep your practice and your reputation professional. Try out your practice with the NAR's fairhaven.realtor. I've done it. Most of us at Keller Williams, we've got a good turnout of agents who have gone through the Fairhaven .realtor exercise. It's actually very interesting. There were some responses that I made that showed unintended bias, and it surprised me. So it was something that I think we all learned from. It's about an hour to take it. But you should, if you haven't already, taken the Fairhaven exercise. And then your name is listed in the Wisconsin graduates of the training in WRA. So after you do take it, you can see your name listed with all the other agents who have taken it. And they're listed with firm. So it's important that we see that Keller Williams has a good representation of getting into fair housing, getting into Fairhaven. Here's the flyer for Fairhaven. You could just go to fairhaven.realtor to test your compliance with the housing practices. It puts you in the position of a client. It puts you in the position of a seller, I believe. It puts you in the position of an agent and what your response would be in certain situations. So make sure that you check that out if you haven't done it already. But
I would
thank you.
highly encourage the group to take a look at if you have not taken the Fairhaven interactive training.
Mm-hmm.
Highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. NAR has had this out for the last several years. I would tell you it's a really incredible, thought-provoking exercise that takes you about 30 minutes to complete, that helps you really understand where implicit bias can show up within your practices. And the more that you are aware of it and introspective as to how you operate, the more in compliance you are in making sure that you're acting appropriately across all segments of clients.
Right. And I do want to make the mention that before I get to this slide, I want to make the mention that of the violations against fair housing, the most common violations are dealing with people with disabilities. They are a protected class, obviously, and yet the disability protected class, it's very broad. And you as a real estate agent are responsible for helping accommodate their modifications or anything while you're showing them houses and working with them to buy a house, or the same thing with the seller. but mostly working with a buyer. You are responsible as their agent to help them accommodate and modify so that they can get into properties and see them. It may mean renting a van. It may mean getting special hearing devices for telephone. It may mean a lot of things about, it may mean getting protection where they can have assistance dog with them. It may mean getting into a lower unit or a first floor unit in a building. All those things are on your shoulders, and it's make sure that when you do have a client with um, need for accommodations or modifications, that you have to look into the resources that are provided. And I would suggest going into WRA.org. There's a section there on resources and accommodations. But again, don't forget that is where your responsibility lies. And again, that's where most of the fair housing violations stem from, not race, which a lot of people would assume. So the last slide has nothing to do with fair housing, but I saw it pop up on this week's hot tips. And it's exactly what I've been saying, but I just wanted to show it to you in actual writing from the WRA. What is the correct way to write in the offer that the seller will pay for the buyer's firm commission? We are going to be dealing with this more as this trend continues, where the buyer's agent is not compensated or compensated very little. And so the buyer wants to put it into his offer that his agent, this buyer agent firm, is compensated by the seller. I've said this in sales meetings. I've said that in the meeting that Jay and I had, but I want to make sure all of you are aware that an offer is written between a buyer and a seller, not between an agent or a firm and the seller. So when you are asking for compensation for the buyer's agent, you must state seller shall, on buyer's behalf, pay to buyer's agent firm, AW Realty, what percent of the sales price. That is the actual way you should write it into your offer. You don't put it in there that seller shall pay buyer's agent's firm something. You have to insert that phrase on buyer's behalf. So it is now legally the buyer talking to the seller, which is what an offer to purchase is. So I just put this in to prove that I wasn't making that up, and it is the way of doing it.
Awesome.
Okay,
Sheriff Reed, thanks for providing the insight. And guys, the fair housing violation stuff is real because it has the real implications to impact your ability to continue to earn an income in this business. And we need to make sure.
We have one question
Yes.
for Joan here in the North Shore. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Are they going to add that phrase into the contractual part of DocuSign?
Is that phrase going to be added into DocuSign and zip forms for our agents?
We will add it to the clause library within our KW community.
Great. Thank you.
Sweet. All right. And then also, just as a heads up, within the KW communities, there's a few opportunities this week, both today as well as on Thursday. Today, unconscious bias in real estate. We've hosted this class before with an incredible teacher called Julia Lachey Israel, who's hosting it today from 11 to 12:30 to help you understand where unconscious bias shows up and how practices across the last 100 years of real estate have evolved to help you understand where it is that we are today and where we've come from. And then on Thursday from 11 to 12:30, all via the Command platform through live streaming, Julie is going to be hosting a panel with a variety of different demographics of agents in the KW community, talking about how we help provide equity opportunities for all through homeownership and what that looks like in ways that a variety of different organizations, whether it's NAREB, whether it's NAREP, a couple other varieties of other organizations are helping people get into housing and what homeownership looks like as we celebrate Fair Housing Month in the month of April. So feel free to check those out. Cool. All right. With that, I want to share, I'm going to lead with March and year-to-date results. And here's why. This group has been incredibly productive, and I'll show you what that looks like after we celebrate folks. Helping understand where it is that you are and what it is that you're doing. Sometimes it's healthy to have perspective and making sure that you guys are understanding as to what it is, the power that you have in the community that you're a part of. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we dive deeper into some of the insights that I want to release today for the first time. So in the month of March, Home Run Club, this is the one you want to be a part of. One listing taken, one contract written, one contract closed. Love to see an incredibly robust group of 50 plus folks that got paid this month and have things in the pipeline to get paid in future months in the next 30 to 90 days. Next up in the month of March is the $1 Million Month Club in the month of March. Big shout out to Aletha, Andy Stillman, Betsy, Bridget Ty, Kathy Shaw, Dusty Loreno, Doreen, Ellen Pertel, Ginger, Holly, Janine, Jay, Jean Jaskowski, Joey Carini, Karen Trimble, Casey Lopez, Katie Falk, Kevin Matson, Kirsten Lindstrom, Kirsten Miller, Christy Robbins, Lori Sroke, Laura Brewster, Maggie, Mara, Molly, Rick, Sarah, Sarah Reardon, Sarah Oberbrunner, Stephanie Miller, Stephanie Minnick, Steve Law, and Will Stallé. Congrats on $1 Million Month in the month of March. Next up, celebrating those agents who are within teams and celebrating what it is that they've accomplished and recognizing those that are on teams. Here's the top 15 to 20 agents on teams for GCI earned through the first quarter. Ginger Lazovic, number 1. Janine, number 2. Steph Miller, Maggie Drain, Martha Ola, Casey Lopez, Kirsten Lindstrom, Laura Brewster, Steph Minnick, Kathy Shaw, Will Stallé, Andy Stillman, Melina Cortez, Emily Fair, Spencer Harvey, Jonathan Newby, Ellen Pertel, Holly Gamblin, Catherine Eaglehoff on her birthday, and Benny the Jet Davis for GCI agents on a team. Next up, percentage volume increase so far year to date through the first quarter, those that are absolutely killing it. First up, PY, Patrick Young, Steve Law, Sig Realty Group, Melissa Delzer, Paul Schmidt, Anna Pieper, Nick Jensen, Vershay Ward, Karen Spinty, Jean Jaskowski, Jordan Shelton, Sheridan Stones, Miller Marriott, Bethany Clark, Nicole, Ashley Meyer, Matt Sosi, Peter Gossman, Dana Cornetti, and Jackie Reinish-Knapp. Congrats on the largest percentage increase in Q1 this year versus Q1 last year. Now, March individual volume, celebrating the top 15. Jean Jaskowski coming in at number 1. Kevin Matson, Lori Sroke, Bridget Ty, Betsy Williamson also celebrating a birthday today. Shout out to Betsy. Sarah Oberbrunner, Mara Krieger, Joey Carini, Doreen, Sarah Reardon, Steve Law, Ann Kleber, Brian Schweppe, Lisa Eastman, Jordan Tybinko, Guy Nicolette, Annie Stabler, Zach Donnelly, Gail Zeman, John Molitor, rounding out individual agents for the month of March. Shout out to those guys. Individual agents year to date. Agents control their units. The market gives you volume. Lori Sroke, Kevin Matson, Joey Carini, Lindsay Andrews, Nick Fetting, Bridget Ty, Ethan Masson, Sarah Oberbrunner, John Molitor, Brian Schweppe, Jean Jaskowski, Damara, Jordan Shelton, Sarah Reardon, Guy Nicolay, Steve Law, and Latasha Dawson, rounding out individual units so far for year to date. Now, switching over to individual volume so far, Jean leading the way, Bridget at number 2, Kevin Matson, Lori Sroke, Ethan Masson rounding out the top 5 for individual agents so far year to date. Switching over to teams in the month of March, shout out to Falk Reuven Gallagher, 12.8 million in the month of March, JSG at 12.1, SRG, Dusty's team, Team Trimble, Miller Marriott, Duval Group, Root River, On Point, PPG, Champagne, Gossman Group, Nikolic, Flanagan, Enlighten, Ackerstone, Jeff Johns, Foxglove, Fair Hinton, and Bark River rounding it out for teams in the month of March. Now, teams year to date, Root River leading the way with 64 units, JSG at 53, FRG at 40, PPG 22, On Point, Stallé, Enlighten, A Key Home, Dusty's team, Duval, Gossman, Levine, Miller Marriott, Fair Hinton, Nikolic, Fernwood, and Champagne rounding it out for team units closed year to date through the month of March. And then lastly, year-to-date volume so far through Q1 of 2024, Falk Reuven Gallagher leading the way. JSG number 2, SRG, Root River, PPG, On Point, Dusty's, Enlighten, Miller Marriott, Duval rounding out the top 10 for teams so far year-to-date closed volume through Q1 of 2024. Sweet. Guys, we have an incredibly group of people that are doing incredible things. You know how I know that? On top of not only just the results that we just described, I want to share with you a little bit of a follow-up to some of the insights that I shared with you last week. And if you remember last week, I shared what it looked like in the MLS through the first quarter of the trends. And I shared the trends to say, hey, look, I think the tide is rising. And you know what the coolest part about this was? I didn't really look at the KW performance to it until we pulled together the awards to be like, let's look at a matter of perspective to see how productive is our group of people and what are the results that they're delivering in Q1 of 2024. So let's take a look. In January alone, the MLS was up 1% in closed units. KW was up 36% as a total community in southeastern Wisconsin. Listings taken units across the MLS was up 3.5%. We were slightly behind, up 1%. And contracts written units on the buyer side, we were up 9%. The MLS was up 0.5%. When you look into February, the group absolutely slayed it, okay? Up 12% on closed units versus the MLS, it was up 8%. Up 57% on listings taken units when the MLS was up 12%. And contracts written units on the buyer side, the KW community was up 54% on buyer side contracts written units. And the MLS was up 5%. And then looking at what we did in March, we were up 20% in closed units versus an MLS that was up 2%. The MLS was down 6% in listings taken, while the KW community was down 3%, and contracts written was up 4%, while the MLS was up 5%. All of this leads to what does that mean for the first quarter? And here's what I'm happy, like really incredibly stoked by the performance of this group. Closed units up 22% versus the MLS, it was up 5%. Listings taken units, this group was up 16%. The MLS was up 3.5%. This group wrote 19% more buyer side contracts than they did in Q1 of last year versus an MLS that was up 5%. The reason why I share this with you is you guys are absolutely killing it. And sometimes you need a matter of perspective to say, wow, I feel like I'm a hamster on running on the hamster wheel in the middle of April. And it's showing up in the results. And the work that you did in the way we challenged you in Q4 of 23 is what's showing up in your results in Q1 of 24. Everything happens 30 to 60 to 90 days later from the activities that you do. And clearly, you guys absolutely crushed it in the fourth quarter of 23 to have incredible first quarter results in 24. So congrats on that. Also, the reason why I just selected these 3 metrics is because this is basically like a home run club. I talked about that earlier. 1 listing taken, 1 contract closed, 1 contract written. It's all around lead and lag metrics to help you guys understand where it is that you are and where it is that you are going. And collectively, this group is absolutely taking advantage of it. And they're not using what's going on in the market as a distraction in order for you guys to get what you desire out of the opportunity of the market in 2024. So congrats on a collective success that all of you are having. Now, here's the new wrinkle that I'm adding in. And look, I am looking for feedback on this because I want to be able to provide you insights to help you win. Okay. Last week, in just 1 week, we went through, myself, Kimmy Herbert, and Sarah Papp, we reviewed 70 accepted offers. And what we tried to do was say, what is winning in today's environment so that we can help get you guys the insights that may be helpful for you as you advise your clients moving forward in a really tight and competitive spring market. So we reviewed 70 accepted offers. We pulled together about 6 data points that I think may help you. Again, I'm seeking feedback. If there's something that you may want or something different, would love to hear it because this is the first time we've done it. And we will continue to do this on a weekly basis moving forward as we refine this opportunity and what it looks like for you. So of the 70 offers that were accepted last week within the KW community that we have access to, the list price to accepted offer ratio was 102.5%. The inspection contingency, 49% of offers that were accepted in the last week of the 70 that we reviewed, 49% had an inspection contingency, 51% of them were waived. Cash offers versus financed, 27% of the deals were cash deals, 73% were financed. Of those that were financed, the average down payment of finance deals was 14%. And the appraisal gap, if 17% of the time of the 70 deals, an appraisal gap was offered. And of the 17% of deals that had an appraisal gap was offered, the average appraisal gap that was offered was $9,166. So we're trying to mine some data to help you guys understand what's going on in the market. So when you're advising clients, not only just on the buyer side, but on the listing side as well, as to what is going on in the market, we're going to try to continue to gather these insights for you. And if there are other metrics that you would like to see or that we had not thought of, feel free to ping me, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, whatever that may be, because we're looking to refine this so that we can get you this information on a weekly basis to help you win. Does this help? Yes. Sweet. Stay tuned as we evolve this and we continue to make this even better for you in order for you to leverage it to win in the marketplace. Cool? Awesome. Wrapping it up with training and education. Here we go. April calendar is out. The week of the 16th, you have Pizza Call Day here at Innovation, and you have Kinetic Wealth Mastermind down in Southwest tomorrow from 1 to 3. There's a taco luncheon out in Lake Country on Thursday. Feel free to come and get some free tacos. And the Maureen and Friends this month, which is invite only, is on Friday at 10 a.m. A conversation with Linda McKissick, who is an incredible, incredible agent out of Texas, who has built an unbelievable business, not only in the real estate transaction world, her real estate investment side. She's going to talk everything about her journey within the real estate space and how she's helped build wealth through the opportunity of residential real estate. Next, on Tuesday next week at 11 o'clock, we will also have this recorded. We will have Magnolia Tax Services for tax tips and LLCs, what it is that you need to be doing now in 2024 to prep for the tax season, now that tax season, for the most part, unless you filed an extension, was completed yesterday. Also, this next week, Wednesday at 1, Maureen is going to be hosting a panel as we are continuing these panel conversations with Jay, Lisa Packard, and Kristen Stahulik, all incredible listing agents, all around dialogues and conversations that they're having with sellers around what is going on in the market at the moment and how we are being proactive in conversations. So she's going to mine those conversations with Jay, Lisa, and Kristen for you next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. at Zoom, and it will be recorded as well. Lastly, we talked about the serving committee in the month of April, and Thursdays we're doing Milwaukee Rescue Mission from 10:30 to 1. Feel free to register as we have those opportunities upcoming. And then lastly, Value Squared. The last date is April 25th for this group. Okay, I thought it was the last thing, but I was wrong. Look, there's 150 people who have registered for Jeff Glover, all around two things. On Monday, the 29th from 1 to 4, he's going to give you his 5-step listing presentation, and he's going to give you his dialogues he's having with his buyers in order to get what he is worth within the marketplace. 150 folks have registered. We have room for 200. There's 50 more spots. Register today before it sells out. An incredible opportunity to learn from one of the best, truly one of the best within the KW community. As I like to say, Jeff is a meat and potatoes individual. Okay. Lastly, we talked about MREA notes. That is there. So I'm going to leave you with this as we wrap up team meeting this morning. As probably many of you are probably familiar with, it's interesting how communication has evolved in today's world. And it's funny how you can communicate with your spouse, your brothers, your business partners by sending various videos back and forth through various different platforms. And last night, my mom sent me a video that I paid attention to with Josh Eitzer around how do you get in front of problems, or how do you be proactive in situations, that I thought was incredibly relevant based on what it is that we're experiencing within our industry. And I wanted to share the 2-minute and 48-second video with you to help tell a story as he was building Marquis Jets into a billion-dollar company around private jet aviation, and how one of his very first early adopter clients faced an issue and how Josh dealt with it, which then elevated his business further, which was a big issue. So here you go.
I got a call from a guy named Oren Tellem at Marquis Jet. One of the guys that I emailed 3 years before. I heard you're in the jet business. I want to demo your flight. Oren Tellem was the biggest sports agent in the world. He represented 20% of the Major League Baseball players and all the best NBA players, including Kobe, Tracy McGrady in this era. He wants to demo our flight. He wants to try a flight from LA to Duke University, where he's going to have an interview with the guy who's going to be the #1 pick in the NBA draft. This athlete was going to be worth tens of millions of dollars to the firm. We set up the flight. I get a call from Oren Tellem. I'm 29 years old. I just started this company, and I'm green. I've never been in a battle. This guy's battle tested. He's negotiating against the best people in the world, and he's pissed. Jesse, there's a 9-hour mechanical delay. I just got a call from your customer service team. I'm going to miss the meeting. I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm like, Arn, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me call my team and I'll call you right back. Crisis Management 101, you get in front of the problems. You don't hide behind your emails. You get right in front of the problem. Crisis Management 101. There is a 9-hour delay. I call him up. Arn, it's Jesse Itzler. I am so sorry. I just got off with our customer service team. There is a 9-hour delay. The reality is that airplanes break, not a lot, 1%, 1 out of every 100 flights has a mechanical issue, and I'm so sorry this happened to you. I would gladly sit there for 10 days to take away this delay, but I can't. But anyone that tells you that you're never going to have a problem with your flight is lying to you and will never risk safety. But I'm a 29-year-old kid, Arn. I just started this company with my partner. If you ever give me another chance, I'll do everything in my power to make your family and your flights as good as they could possibly be. But this is out of my control. And something clicked. And he said, you know what? If this kid doesn't want me as an agent because my airplane broke, I don't want him as a client. And he signed. And a week or two later, he found the loophole in the tax law. He's so smart that athletes could write jet time into their contracts and get a tax deduction. And he wrote 100 jet hours, which is like $1 million, into Kobe Bryant's Adidas deal. And then he did it for Tracy McGrady. And then he did it for every athlete. And he took my company from here to here because of how we handled the lows. When you're faced with challenging times, how you handle them can be your greatest asset.
So there you go. A lot of uncertainty in our world. How you face the uncertainty, be proactive in your communication, how you build trust and rapport with your clients is what will allow you to continue moving forward. And I think the results that this group collectively has delivered in Q1 of 24 is a testament to how you have not allowed those distractions.
I'm good.
to
How
get
are you?
away. And Leah is taking a phone call live.
Yep, I sure do. What's up?
All right, guys.